All right, good day, everyone, and hope everyone have a wonderful Tuesday. At this time, I just want to have President Mike call the meeting to order.
All right, good day, good day. Welcome, fellow Rotarians and guests, to this Rotary Club of Nassau's third meeting for the month of March 2022. Starting off, I want to make a special welcome also to our presenters today, Miss Renisha Saunders and our own fellow RCN member, Senator Maxine Seymour. All right, turning it back over to you, Rotarian Tamika.
Thank you, President Mike, and we're happy to have everyone here. Today is our weekly number 38, and as normal, I just want to remind you of what we're going to do this month of water, hygiene, and sanitation, maternal and child health. And so now we're going to have the invocation by Rotarian Anita.
Good afternoon to all. O Lord, thou giver of all good, we thank thee for our daily food, for good fellowship and the opportunity to serve. May Rotarian friends and Rotarian ways help us to serve thee all of our days. Amen.
Amen, amen. And thank you, Rotarian Anita. I really felt that in every bit of my bones today. And so we'll move on to the loyal toast by Rotarian Sophia.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Please join me in the loyal toast to the Queen and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
To the Queen and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Sophia. Next, we'll have Rotarian Wayne, who is always here to give us a warm welcome.
Thanks very much, Tamika. Appreciate that. Yes, a good day. It's a happy day to be alive. Hey, it's a good day to be alive, and we are all here, and we are once again joined in our RCN meeting. One of the liveliest places you can be at this time. We hope that you are enjoying your lunch and that you are enjoying it with good company. So we're happy that you've tuned in and chimed in with us today. Like I like to say, you know, there's no better place to be than here at the RCN for lunch, and good afternoon to you as well. So let's move it straight along as we get into it, because we got a full slate ahead. And today I thought I'd just give us some little jokes with husband and wife, you know. So there's one like this says, the son asked his dad, said, Dad, what's the difference between love and marriage? The father thought for a while. He said, son, love is blind. Marriage? That one? That's an eye opener. I thought that's so funny. I tell you that. Fella said on his wedding day, his mother told his wife, said, honey, let me tell you right now, I'm not taking no refunds and no exchange on sale items. No fun, no exchange on sale items. Oh, next one said, the father told his son, said, son, if you want to change the world, do it while you are single. Son said, why? Father said, son, once you're married, you can't even change the television channel. Boy, that's true. That was true. I like this one here. It says, every morning I like to remind my wife who's in charge. I hold up the mirror to her face. I hold the mirror up to her face. I don't know who's in charge. The fella the youngster tell his mother, said, you know, some mom, I think I'm playing the world's most dangerous sports. She said, what is that, honey? I disagreed with my wife.
Wait, Wayne, you better stop before you start getting some daggers thrown at you.
Oh, man. So I told him that I went to them. I just started laughing, you know, because Boy, that might be humorous, but let me tell you something. Boy, all the married people in here, especially the married men, know, boy, they're far from the truth. Okay, good. So I hope that lightened up the moment, and I hope that all of you now feeling a bit more comfy and you feel a bit more relaxed, and you realize now that you are among friends. You're among friends, and we like to have a lighter moment here at RCN. So without any further prolonging of this session, do we have any Rotarian visitors, Rotarian guests? Do you have any guests in the house, Rotarian guests?
I have one.
Okay, hi.
My soon or soon to be member, Deborah Thompson.
Good
Okay.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Deborah. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good. I'm glad to have you join us today. We trust and hope that this meeting will be very fulfilling for you. Okay, thanks so much
Yes.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Good. Anyone else? Do we have anyone else on board?
Yeah, Shelby.
Sorry.
Hello?
Now go ahead, so Shelby can introduce herself now.
Hi, Shelby. Welcome again, Shelby. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Good. Nice having you again, Shelby, with us. Nice having you again with us. And we trust and hope that, as usual, you find our meetings very, very intriguing and enlightening. Okay? Thanks so much for joining, Shelby. And have a beautiful day. Good.
Thank you. Same to you all.
Yes, moving along. Any other visiting Rotarians?
I'm not sure if they're on us yet, but it's supposed to have 3 persons. So now Carrie, Alex Nixon, and D'Angela Delabo.
Are they Rotarians or are they just guests?
No, they're just visiting.
Oh, just guests. Okay, good, beautiful. All right. So do we
Hi,
have
good
any other?
afternoon. Sorry, yeah, my name is Alicia Culver from the Rotary Club of New Providence. So I saw your flyer online and just decided to join for the day.
Wow, that is excellent. Thanks, Alicia. And we are so happy to have you here, man. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
great to be with you guys.
That's beautiful.
Hi,
Excellent.
Alicia.
How you doing?
Good. Do we have anyone else? Do we have anyone else? Okay, so if there be no other, my last and final duty as Sergeant of Arms is to ensure that everyone has their pin on. So if you don't have your pin, probably display your pin first, please. If you don't have your pin on, as usual, our dear Rotarian Sandra will make sure that to send you your love note, and you'll get a nice love note. So if you don't have your pin on, just let us know, raise your hand so we can give you a nice love note. All right, and thanks so much. Is there any apologies, Chantal, Madam Secretary?
We do have apologies from Rotarian Nadia. She will be missing the next few meetings. We got an apology in from the treasurer, Sandra Walker. She will not be joining us in the meeting today. And also Lana will be traveling today, so she's not going to be in the meeting.
Thank you so much, Madam Secretary. And then now we turn it back over to Rotarian Tamika. I'll continue with the activities for the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rotarian Wayne. I just want to make mention in the chat, we have Adia Roberts. She was invited by Derica Pratt. So I can't remember if we acknowledged her, but just wanted to acknowledge her this time.
Okay, thanks so much, and welcome. We do appreciate having you with us today. Thank you so much.
All right, so at this time, we will have remarks and announcements by President Michael.
All right, good to have the floor again, but Rotarian Wayne, maybe she might mention we have quite a number of rotary pins available for sale, $5 each. For those who are habitually missing or forgetting to wear their pins, just buy a couple and you have some extras. Just one remark today. As per the United Nations, we are observing World Water Day. This was started back in 1993 and celebrates water, its availability, and raises awareness for the roughly 2 billion persons in the world who do not have access to safe drinking water. coming out of a board meeting, which was held, RCN board meeting, which was held last evening. The board gave approval for the portion of the down payment towards the 2023 District 7020 Rotaract Conference. This is scheduled for next year, May 2023, at the Margaritaville Resort here in downtown Nassau. We're looking to have over 200 attendees, and this will be the first conference to be held in over 2 years due to the COVID restrictions. Now, turning it back over to you, Tamika.
Thank you, President Michael. And up next, we have the Secretary's report by Secretary Chantel.
Hi, good afternoon again, everyone. A brief report for me today as well. I just want to say thank you to those new Rotarians and one prospective member who actually helped out with the session that was held on Saturday for the Persons with Disabilities Fun Day. Looking at the photos, it looked like it really was a fun day, and the Rotarians looked like they had a good time while they were helping out. So thank you again for that. And also thank you to Rotarian Darren for volunteering to work with the RCOB fundraising committee. President Michael mentioned last week that we were looking for volunteers. So thank you very much for that. So I'm sure we'll be hearing more about what ideas and suggestions they have in place, as they are firmed up. And those are all the updates that I have.
Thank you, Rotarian Chantel, Secretary Chantel. At this time, we have the Treasurer's report by Treasurer Sandra L.
So Sandra unfortunately cannot make it, but I can stay on because our membership personnel is traveling this week. So unfortunately, they are not here either today. But we do want to extend a birthday greeting going out to Rotarian Jeff. He is celebrating a birthday this month on the 24th. So we want to make sure if you see him that you want to make sure wish him a happy birthday. And for Rotarian Sandy, his Rotary anniversary is actually up. Excuse me. He is actually celebrating 6 years on the 29th. So again, if you see him, you can make sure. Happy birthday to. Started too soon. Make sure, congratulations on arriving at that milestone for 6 years as a Rotarian. Okay, and so of course, in our usual fashion, I would like to play our, excuse me, 1 second, if I can get this done, trying to do like a million things one time. Our birthday song for our Rotarian Jeff. Happy birthday to you. All right, thank you very much. And that's it for Secretary and for membership.
Thank you, Rotarian Chantel, for the information. Also want to say congratulations again to Rotarian Sandy and happy birthday, Rotarian Jeff. Moving right along, we will have the introduction of the guest speaker by Rotarian Jillian.
You have to unmute Jillian.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep,
yes, we can hear you. We just lost you again, Jillian. We were able to hear you.
Hello,
Hi, yes,
Chantel. Okay,
yes, go ahead.
yes, okay. So my purpose today is to introduce our two wonderful speakers, Rotarian Maxine Seymour and Miss Renisha Sanders, and they will be addressing the advancement of women in the Bahamas. Maxine Seymour is a trained communication professional with more than 25 years of experience across industries, including government, retail, franchise, corporate, media, health, banking. She currently serves as the Director of Corporate Communications at the country's leading health and life insurer. In 2008, Maxine attained a Master of Arts degree with distinction in Communication for Social and Behavior Change from the University of the West Indies Mona campus, Jamaica. In 2000, she graduated magna cum laude from the College of St. Benedict, St. Joseph's, Minnesota, with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication with an English minor. Maxine received her Associate of Arts degree in Journalism and Mass Communications with credit in 1996 from the then College of the Bahamas, where she was elected Humanities Senator of COB's Union of Students, among other positions held. She holds a certificate in social media management from Georgetown University School of Continuing Studies, Washington, D.C., USA, and the Certified Professional in Human Resource credential from the Society for Human Resources Management, along with other certifications. Maxine won the top undergraduate paper award at the 15th Annual Red River Communication Conference, North Dakota State University in 2000, and placed first in the Bahamas National Arts Festival's drama category, individual verse speaking in 1995. A former deputy head girl of St. Anne's High School, she was voted most likely to succeed by her 1994 graduating class. Maxine enjoys quality conversation, reading, and writing. She and Rico, her wonderfully supportive husband of 20 years, parent an adult son and 3 school-age daughters. The family is heavily involved in philanthropic outreach to children and youth. Maxine is the public image director-elect of the Rotary Club of Nassau. Maxine's political bio. Maxine Seymour was mentored and mothered by the late Honorable Teresa M. Moxie Ingram for 26 years, from 1992 when Maxine featured her in an essay entitled My Bahamian Hero, A Woman in Politics, until her untimely passing in 2018. A third-generation FNM supporter, Maxine recalls canvassing for the party alongside other relatives from childhood in 1987 onward. Her grandfather was victimized for voting for the UBP, and she always stood against such injustice as characterized by the PLP. She believes that the FNM remains a better choice for our beloved country. While in high school, Maxine joined the Torchbearers Youth Association and the FNM Center to Guyana in 1993 to participate in the Caribbean Youth Festival and mock Parliament. She was also a participant in Bahamas' National Youth Parliament in 1999. Formerly elected as the youngest vice president of the FNM's Women's Association, Maxine resigned her post after relocating to the US for college, but has remained an active member of the Women's Association over the years. Maxine has spoken at FNM rallies, town meetings, and other events, including the party's National Convention of 1997. She contested the 2021 parliamentary election.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. We're good. I'm sure people are equally as bored as I am at this point. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
Because
Let's
it's
move
painful.
on
You
to
can
my
move on
other
and wait, Misha.
You can
Please.
move on, baby.
I am,
Thank
since you
you.
said that. Okay. Our other speaker, Renisha Shadia Sanders. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. This is a scripture that Renisha lives by. Renisha is a 21-year-old founder of an organization called Gen Z Arise, which is dedicated to encouraging young Bahamians to engage in activism, community service, and mental health awareness. Renisha is also the former Miss Teen Bahamas 2017, in which her platform highlighted youth empowerment. Renisha continues to be a youth activist and occasionally posts motivational videos that's entitled Renisha Weekly. She is a global youth ambassador for youth opportunities and for Future Focus International. She's a National Youth Awardee in Personal Triumph, Ministry of Youth Rising Star in Religion, and Youth Parliamentarian. This vibrant 21-year-old has overcome many trials and tests that came her way. She has successfully won many awards and prizes over the years, but her ultimate drive is to encourage the youth that they can accomplish all things through Christ and that their voices matter. Thank you.
Thank you. So Maxine and Renisha, are you
Thank you
gonna
all.
turn on your videos?
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize mine wasn't on. Thank you for trying that to pay attention. I hope I'm not getting an echo. Or am I echoing? Okay. I am going to take that silence as a no. Hopefully not. Thank you all very much. And I I have to say, I apologize for the bio, but that's my fault. You did a great job, Rotarian Jillian. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So
You're welcome.
yes. So I'm just Rotarian Maxine, and I don't know what all that stuff is about. And we're here today to talk about the advancement of women in our country. And I am joined, and very excited to be joined by an upcoming, well, a dynamic young woman who I feel as if the future of the Bahamas is in good hands with young people like her. And so we're going to let her lead off and talk a little bit about the advancement of women. And then I'll wrap up. And of course, we'll take any questions if there are questions. So Waynisha, the superstar, go ahead.
Thank you so much to the entire Rotary for having me today. I won't lie to you guys, I am a bit nervous, but I feel pretty welcomed on today. So today I'll be speaking on, well, we will be speaking on the advancement of women in the Bahamas. Women from centuries ago, women now, and women all around the world have faced some sort of prejudice or inequality. Despite strides in women's representation in powerful roles, a surprising number of people across the world still don't trust women to lead. Can you imagine that right now in America, statistics still show that 1 in every 6 women will fall to rape or attempted rape? Let's not forget unequal pay for equal work, or women falling in the smallest percentage in major sectors. But some women arose. Some Bahamian women arose. It all started when they said we could not vote, we could not get an education, and we could not speak up. It was an unrealistic revelation, sad but unfortunate truth, and something had to be done. In 1951, fierce and determined women stared their adversaries dead in the eye and persevered. These women had dreams for the Bahamas that went far beyond the enfranchisement of women. These women desperately sought equality, justice, and social services for all. Women like Dame Doris Johnson, Mary Ingram, Mabel Walker, Dame Ivy Dumont, Dame Janet Boswick, Cynthia Mother Pratt, just to name a few, were phenomenal women. And since then, we have all been witnesses to the progressiveness, not only with women in politics, but women across all sectors in the Bahamas at large. We have Wendy Warren, the director of Keystone Solutions, who has been serving for 11 years as CEO and executive director of the Bahamas Financial Services Board. Then we have Dr. Nakia Forbes, director of National HIV, AIDS, and Infectious Disease Program at the Bahamas Ministry of Health. We have Miss Chantel O'Brien, the history maker at the Miss Universe pageant, becoming the first Bahamian to ever place in the top 10 in the pageant. Then we have another phenomenal woman, Wendy Craig, who is an economist from the Bahamas, who was the first woman to be appointed as governor of the Central Bank of the Bahamas. I have another history maker, which is Shawnee Miller, a Bahamian athlete and a two-time Olympic champion. And we can't forget the Magnificent Seven, the 7 women that were elected to Parliament in the last general election, and the 5 of them that are now in cabinet. We honor these women. We thank these women for the strides that they have made and the legacies that they will indefinitely leave. When preparing for this topic, honestly, I thought to myself, what do these historic women consume that I can take from them for the younger generation and the rise of so many young, talented Bahamian women in this country? And I fervently believe that what those women had was a drive. They had the willingness to thrive, the fight to survive, and not just fight to rise above all that people place and all the stereotypes that they faced in their lifetime. The advancement of women in the Bahamas has taken a new seat, in my opinion, at a new table, which allows women to aim higher, achieve greater, and demand more. Which is why I can speak to you today on this topic, and I can speak to you about the continuous work that we must keep doing. Between 2014 and 2019, we've seen acts come about and acts that were corrected that included benefits for women, like the Sexual Offenses Amendment Act, the Child Protection Amendment Act, Persons with Disabilities Act, and the National Insurance Act. All acts that came with benefits that helped women catapult even further in the Bahamas. As of recent in the Bahamas, we've seen an increase in gender-based violence in women and children. And I have to say their names: Bella Walker, Heavenly Turbius, and now Carissa Culmer. All victims to either violence or the effects of abuse as victims. And this showed me that though we have came so far, and though we fight for so much more improvement in the Bahamas, that there still is some work to be done. The great Barack Obama once said that we choose hope over fear. We see the future not as something out of our control, but as something that we can shape for the better through concerted and collective effort. Also, our beautiful coat of arms says forward, upward, onward, together. A representation that simply says that no matter what we go through or what we face, we must move forward together. I say all that today to say this: we all have the power to continue to advance the agenda of women growing in the Bahamas by us working together as a community. I recommend that as we move forward and we educate ourselves on the root causes of violence and the things that women face in the Bahamas and globally, we listen and believe those women that are survivors of abuse and different things that they may have went through. We fight for stronger laws to protect women and create more spaces for minorities and young people. And then we fight to prepare the next generation to take the baton and trust that they will also make the change that we so hope for. I end with this. The great Maya Angelou once said that we will encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated because we have won these battles before. We've seen influential Bahamian women rise above. And as we continue the journey and rally together to continue the advancement of women in the Bahamas, we must keep moving forward. Thank you guys so much. I'll hand it over to Senator Maxine.
Thank you very, very much, Waynisha. That was quite inspirational. And the reality is that I'm happy that Waynisha has come forward as a woman to have a voice, and she has a very loud voice too, and to speak up and speak out against some of the challenges that we face and encounter in our society, especially for young people and for women and whatever other vulnerable groupings. And the reality is that the strength she shows as a young woman tells us that we have a lot to do in terms of breeding the next generation of women and our little girls to know that, look, you could do anything. And I'm serious about that. Like, women don't, and I'm not, this isn't to disrespect any profession. I'm just saying women don't only have to be nurses or teachers or, you know, those traditional gendered jobs. Even with professions, a lot of it is gendered. And so everything is biased and we don't even realize it. And so there have been so many studies done where, like, if you go to a technical store, like a computer store, Best Buy, and there's a female on the floor and a male on the floor, like, you tend to automatically go toward the male to get help because you feel, and you don't even realize it subconsciously, that a man knows more about like computers or technical stuff than a woman does. And there's so many other gender biases that we don't even realize exist, and we've been conditioned to accept. And that's the same way back to the example about jobs, where we don't necessarily like tell our little girls, like, you could be a pilot, or you could be an engineer, or you could be a contractor, or you could be an electrician or plumber. We limit and we box women in without even realizing it before they even grow up. And so we tend to get them toward more feminine things and more feminine attributes. And this is something I discourage, especially when it comes to girls. And I know we're talking about women, but girls become women. And I'm very concerned that when it comes to our girls, that I really try my hardest not to do it. Like, whenever I see somebody with a little girl, I try my best not to compliment the girl based on her physical attributes. Because we literally, without doing it, we always say to girls, like, you're pretty, or you're beautiful, or you're so cute, or you're so adorable, or your hair's pretty. And we start to make them think that their physical structure, physical makeup is what is primarily significant for them as a female. And I don't want to be a part of continuing to perpetrate that myth. And so whenever I see someone, a little girl, even if I mention her beauty, I'll always be like, oh my goodness, you're so talented, or look at you, you're so smart, or I bet you're the smartest in your class. And I try my best to notice, because we do it with boys, and we see boys, they'd be like, oh, he must be active, or, you know, he looks like he could play ball good, or, you know, you look like you always climbing, or something. Like, we wouldn't say like, oh, you're so handsome. But we start to condition our girls to like be, and again, it's no disrespect, but it's almost like a beauty queen mentality, where every time we see them, it's, oh my goodness, your dress is so pretty. Oh my goodness, you're so pretty. Oh my goodness, these ribbons in your hair. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But we need to start to, if we really want to see women continue to advance, we need to start now with the current generation to explain to them that you're more than just pretty. Like, you could be smart too. You could be talented. You could be skillful. You could be, you know, technical in terms of your capabilities. And we have to stop training them to believe that they're only as good as their physical attributes, because then it crosses over into womanhood. I remember I said once in the Senate that even though we celebrate the 7 women in Parliament, I said that we need to stop all the celebration, because the reality is our Parliament, for example, has existed for hundreds of years. And I can't remember how many, but we've had like dozens of speakers of the House of Assembly. And we're now only on our 2nd woman out of, like, if you see the list, you wouldn't believe it. We're on our 2nd woman. Am I happy? Yes. But is that enough? No. And so we have to be mindful of this whole celebration. And I said that it's almost as if men say, okay, like the 7 in Parliament, it's almost like they said, okay, let's take a photo. When we take a photo, for every 5 men, we need to put 1 woman or whatever to break up the photo. And they say that. And so the same way, like, oh, she's so cute, it goes into adulthood. And it's like, oh, come over here, or you come stand in the middle, or stand by us, or put Maxine here. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here to make your photo pretty. I'm here to contribute, and I add value, and I have something to say. And I'm not at this table to like make tea or coffee, or for y'all to compliment my looks and this craziness that y'all do. I have something in my head, and I'm here to contribute. And the thing about it is, I believe it starts from the younger generation. And so we have to be careful how we socialize our girls, how we give them dolls to play with all the time. And so we're saying to them that the maternal attribute is what matters. Like, it's important to learn how to take care of kids. If you really look, and it frustrates me to no end, because if you really try to shop for a toy for a girl, most likely you're going to find either dolls, or you're going to find some sort of like nail polish stuff. You're going to find a kitchen set, like teach them to cook and stay in the kitchen and things like this. And so the STEM toys are harder to find or less gifted. You know, if you get a book, even the girls, they so conditioned, maybe like a book, like they want more teddy bears to cuddle, more girls, more babies to hold. And I'm not suggesting that we don't nurture the nurturer in them. I'm just saying that some of the biases that exist in our country and in our world start from infancy, and we don't even realize it. And we continue to perpetrate it, and then we get to be adults, and it's almost the same thing, right? And then there's the tokenism. So it's like, okay, well, Les and the man in different spheres, not just politics, they say, oh, let's put this person to do this, or the UN say that, so let's sign up on this, or let's make this law because we have this international treaty. And sometimes they don't really mean it in terms of accepting and acknowledging that we need and deserve equal rights, and we deserve equity when it comes to everything in our country, because we're equal citizens just like everyone else. And so whether that's law, or whether that's eliminating the discriminations that exist in the law, or whether or not that's opportunities, whether or not that's equal pay for equal work, whatever it is, women deserve the same as men, what men get. And that's the same way how all Bahamians, I keep talking about us creating a Bahamas for all Bahamians. So that means that if you are Bahamian, whether you were born here or whether you're neutralized, you deserve equality and you deserve equity. And that means whether or not you're a person with a disability, whether you're a female, whether you're a male, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, whether you are a child, whether you are an elderly person, no matter who you are, if you're a Bahamian, it shouldn't be different for you from someone else just because of some particular attribute you have that was given to you at birth. Because nobody chose to be a woman, or nobody chose to be, you know, have a disability. In some cases, people get disabilities later on in life, but these aren't things that people say, okay, me, I want a disability. It's something that they have, but that has nothing to do with who they are. That has nothing to do with their self as a person and their self as an individual. And so we have to look beyond all of these barriers. We have to accept people for who they are, and we have to give them an equal opportunity to contribute. Because the reality is that there's power in diversity. So if you're at a table, and they like to talk about this proverbial table, if you have people there who are different, people who disagree, people who have different opinions, people who are from different religions and different genders and different schools of thought, and who went to, who used to live in different countries, or whatever the case might be, that kind of melting pot, you're more likely to come up with your greatest solutions and your greatest success just because of their differences. And so we shouldn't be afraid of differences. And we've taken some steps, like Waynisha pointed out, and we have, and I am grateful for that. But I still say that there's more to be done, and that we have to be careful not to rest on our laurels. And one of the things I do say too is that men never define any of their achievements based on their gender. So you would never hear a man saying, oh, I'm the first CFO of this company, or, you know, I'm the first male, this or that. They don't say that. They just show up. But it's almost as if we feel it necessary to define our achievements based on our gender. So they always add these tags to us, and we get into it too. Like, I mean, I won't give specific examples, but the things people say, like, I'm the first woman minister of this, or something nuts like that. It's like, why does that make a difference? You are, I'm assuming you were appointed because you're the most capable, you're the most competent, and you have something to add in terms of value. Stop, like, almost diluting your achievement by always defining it by a gender. That's not necessary. So it shouldn't be that, you know, I was the first woman to speak at Rotary on March 22nd, 2022, right? It shouldn't matter that I'm a woman if I'm a speaker. I should have been invited because I have something to say that whoever invited me thinks that the Rotarians could benefit from hearing. And so we have to be careful and cautious about that. And my real thing about women advancing in our country is that if we're going to move forward, we're going to have to take it. And I mean, that's a little extreme. I don't want to sound too Malcolm X-ish, but I keep trying to explain to my sisters that no one's going to give it to us. And we have to join hands across the divide. Like, the advancement of women in our country is not a partisan issue. If we're serious about really moving women forward and really getting forward and really taking our rightful place, you know, I think it's going to have to come to a mace out the window moment. However, the reality is that we have been so conditioned to be subservient and submissive, and to be, you know, thankful and grateful to the man, and to wait for it and to let them give it to us. And when they give it to us, to be grateful for it. It's like we keep pushing for, you know, sometimes we talk about quotas and we talk about 30% at this or, you know, this 50% at that. And it's almost like, you know, yeah, but you think they think like, you know, they look at constitutional amendments and other things and organizations and they're like, you know, but we should push for 30 and I'm like, we are the majority in the population and 30% doesn't reflect that. But we continue to be like, well, we're happy they appointed us to this or that, but we should be pushing to find out, are there any other financial experts in our population who just happen to be women who may make good governors of the central bank? Like, why do we have to keep waiting for it? And then when it comes, we have to celebrate it and then wait for it again. You know, we're deserving and we have to push harder, each of us, no matter what area we're in. We have to push harder to be recognized and to contribute and to add value. And I do not believe that women should be given anything because of their womanhood. I really am not for that. I believe that it should be that they are the best or most suited for the position or role or whatever the undertaking is. And so you don't just pick someone and because they have on a dress, you appoint them to something. No, if you feel like that person adds value, they're qualified, they're competent, they're capable, you know, then you say, okay, here's this opportunity. So it's not a matter of tokenism and just saying, okay, let's appoint a woman or this looks good, or we could get more funding or more grants from international sources. No, you appoint women because you believe they have something to add. And if they don't have something to add, you don't appoint them just because they're women. And so it's a double-edged sword. But we have made some strides and I am grateful for those. I just say that we have to keep pushing harder. And by pushing harder, we have to bring up the young people like Quenisha. And we have to also start to, when it comes to our young girls, we really have to like watch how we approach them in terms of, you know, what we tell them, because whatever we tell them during those key branding years or those like years where they're really developing and toddler and that kind of thing is what they're going to be. So if we always make them, you know, sit and, you know, just teach them all the things, women shouldn't cross their legs in public and all these other things that are important, but we don't really teach them to also go get it, you know, use a calculator or figure something out, you know, resolve conflict or have conversations with us or push them to maybe be the ones to speak up when they go to the store and maybe be the ones to ask for whatever, give the money, get the change back and start to explain to them commerce and really start to put stuff in their head. We can't be so protective of our girls that we keep doing this whole like, you know, gel in their edges situation. And then we expect them to grow up to be girl bosses. Like that's not how it happens. And I'm not against edge gelling, just for the record. Just because my edges aren't gelled doesn't mean I don't support edge gelling. I have 2 teenage daughters. I'm just saying that there has to be more to life than just that. And so let's be careful how we interact with the little girls in our lives. Let's help them to be the women that they can be. And let's remember that women are capable and women are competent and that women can rule and that our country, our world would be a better place when we see women in charge. And just before I leave, I just want to play a quick video that I found that I think that we could all benefit from in case we don't have the realization already. I don't know if, oh, here. Thank you all very much for having us. And I just want to remind us all that in every woman, there's a girl. So let's start with our girls now. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Senator Maxine, Rotarian Senator Maxine, and we were so thankful, just to be encouraged from day to day, knowing that we can and diversity matters. At this time, and if there are any questions, we would now open the floor for any questions. That means you're that good.
I have a question. I mean, I saw all of those female leaders, the prime ministers, of all those countries. So when do you think we will get to that point in the Bahamas?
I'm hoping soon. I'm hoping in 2 terms, 3 terms. I'm hoping soon.
What do you think, Waynisha?
Well, I totally agree with Senator Maxine. I hope it's very soon. I always tell people, with my experience in being a part of youth parliament, and I've met so many young people passionate about change, so many young women. It's always like a lot of women, young women that apply for it. And I realized that there are, like the video said, there are young women coming and us as women supporting each other.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I have a question. Good afternoon.
Go ahead. Good afternoon.
To the presenters, do you all think, having regard to the video shared by Maxine, do you think the sort of historical prejudices or bias or ceilings still exist as they were probably 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Well, I do think that there has been some improvement since, I guess, 10, 15, 20 years ago. We've seen, women do some radical stuff. I was at a forum about Miss Doris Johnson. As we all know, she and a crew of women went to the governor's general house and they were like advocating. And I realized that so much time to women to actually get what they want, they had to do radical movements and radical.
I don't know if it's my internet or you.
I'm breaking up?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe if you turn off your video, maybe.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Am I clear?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so you can hear me clearly now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I was saying that I noticed that most times women got to sit at the table, they had to fight for it and they had to do radical movements. And I realized that now it's kind of getting easier by women being more educated. They get more seats easier, but I still think that there are still a long way that we have to go.
The glass ceiling is still right there. And I don't know, like, I feel like I've watched 1 or 2 movies with my husband where someone was trapped somewhere. So I don't know, just picture the ceiling and like some people like knocking on it. So like, I feel like there's like that crack that's there, and that's what we see, the breakthrough women. But that ceiling is still very, very much there, Rotarian Darren, in my opinion.
Okay, if there aren't any other questions, we do have a parking lot. We do have a parking lot discussion. And so I just want to raise a question for the parking lot for Rotarian Maxine to ponder on before we get there. And that question is, as a woman in society and a prominent woman in society, how has it been for your husband to support your initiatives? And I just want you to think on that, because a lot of time women are leading and the men, they're finally, in some cases, taking a back seat. So just want your response as soon as we get to the rest of the meeting, okay? Okay, so at this time, we will have the thanks to the speaker by Rotarian Jillian.
I want to thank our wonderful speakers today for the information that they shared with us. Thank you very, very much.
All right, at this time, we're gonna move into the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair or concerned? Will it build and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And lastly, will it be fun? This is RCN, it's always fun. At this time, we are going to have the Rotary Toast by PAG Larry.
Please join me in the toast to all you who are here, and all those Rotarians over there. Let's join with Rotarians everywhere in a toast to Rotary all over the world.
To Rotary all over the world. At this time, we're gonna have the adjournment by President Mike.
So President Michael had to leave to join another meeting. But I mean, I just enjoyed this meeting so much today. I mean, we're celebrating women for the entire month of March. So, you know, I was so happy that you both agreed to be on this session today. I mean, it's still so much more to do, but I'm happy to see that there is a lot happening. And as you said, there is that crack, you know, in the glass ceiling. So we'll just keep nudging at it until, you know, we have that breakthrough. So good to hear you both, and looking forward to your response when we get into our parking lot. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Always a pleasure to have you on. Great to see all of our guests who tune in, you know, for this presentation. And I'll now turn it over to Wayne, who will lead us into our parking lot.
Hi, yes, thanks very much, Chantel. Thanks so much. And I wanted to just say kudos, man, and thank you to our presenters, man, two powerful women, man. They're going to go some places. They're going to be going places, and they're not afraid. As a man, boy, I tell you, I felt a little bit intimidated. I mean, these giant women, these giant killers were coming forward here, man. I tell you, man, y'all putting it on. But you know, all is in love. But we truly appreciate it. And of course, you know, to break through the glass ceiling, you know, you have to do something that you've never done before. And I like how you put it, Sister Maxine, there might become a mace throwing out the window moment. And the reality is we don't get nothing change in life unless we really make those big and bold and aggressive move. And that's the way it is. And that's just life. That's what brings about change. And so we're going to have women who are actually going to fight for their rights and equal rights. And of course, I don't think the women can do it alone. I think they also need the men there as well. And so that's my 2 cents to it. I believe that together in a partnership where equity is the order of the day, I believe together we can build a very, very good country, a much better country than we have now, because at least no one will be left behind. Okay, so Maxine, I think a question was thrown out by Tamika to you. And so we wait for your response, my dear. Take it over.
I need to find a response. I didn't realize the parking lot was recorded. So let me find a diplomatic response.
I do apologize. Recording should end now that the meeting has concluded. And so
but this information could be helpful, don't you think? I want to have this documented.
That's fine. That's fine. I will limit my transparency then. But no. I mean, the reality is that, and thankfully for me, I do have a great husband who is a partner with me on this journey. And so otherwise I wouldn't be able to do it. What I would say is recently I'm very mindful that because he's home more, like my days could be like 16-hour days or whatever, right? So because he is home more, he's the one like dropping the 3 girls to school, picking the 3 girls up from school, making sure someone has lunch, making sure they bathe, that kind of thing. So now I have to be aware of like the traditional gender roles in the home, and that I don't push it so far that he starts to think that I think that he is, you know, like the mom or the wife or whatever the case may be. So I kind of have to balance and give support, and even in asking to, because he obviously finds himself doing a lot more, like I said, than ordinarily. And so he's good with it. but I have to be careful too. And I be like, you know, you warm the food or you took out the whatever, or you could put the meat in the zinc for me and all that stuff, that I'm still approaching it like a partnership. So that he doesn't feel in a certain way slighted or anything. Now, the irony of life is, if I was a male politician, I wouldn't have to feel like that, because they just, in fact, I don't even think people know, they feel like whenever they reach home, they reach home. But as a woman, they almost like, well, how are you making it in politics? And you have children and you have a husband, and, you know, and they ask you these questions. And every single time someone asks me this, I'm like, do you ask the male politicians this when they come on your show or when they interview with you or whatever? It's almost like we expect males to like be out the house, earning a living and doing politics. So when they come home, the food should be ready. But the women, it's like, well, how you do all these things and you have children and you're married, you know? So there's the conditioning again with the inequity and inequality.
Very real, Maxine, Rotarian Maxine, and I absolutely agree with you. The men don't get asked those questions. How are you able to do all of these things? And it's not just politics, it's everything. Once they see a woman rising or doing a lot, particularly if she's married and has children, that becomes the question. How are you able to do all of this? But a man doesn't get asked those questions, because somehow everybody's okay that the man doesn't spend any time in the home. And so I always, personally, I measure success by how successful you are, not just on your job, but how successful you are in your home. Are you a lousy husband? Are you a good for nothing father? Those are the things I measure a man by, because if you're only successful on your job and you beat your wife, or you don't spend time with your wife and you don't spend time with your children, in my mind, you're nothing. And
Right.
so I think we need to continue to open the dialogue and ask the questions, you know, and make sure that the men are carrying the weight as well. And it's okay for a woman to aspire for more for herself.
Absolutely. You could easily have been the guest speaker.
What do you mean carrying the weight as well? I'm sure I follow that, because the way I see it, I think the advancement of women over the years has come to the point now where women are given more rights than men. So this conversation, and I'm speaking as a man, and you may have a different viewpoint, obviously, but I don't see it the way you all see it. I think there's more a push now to put women ahead than men, whether it be a token gesture or whatever.
Where are you seeing that? Because I think we probably need to clarify where that's being seen.
And I think the example that Maxine would have given in regards to the amount of prime ministers, et cetera, I think if you look at any organization right now, you can very well see that there is a push for women to be in the forefront. And it ain't just a push, it's because of the wonderful achievement women have had. And so I don't see this thing where women are, and again, I'm speaking as a man, I don't see it where women don't have the same equal rights as a man.
You know what it is, so Darren? You know what I see? I see over maybe 400,000 years, men have been at the helm. And it's probably only been 2 years now that women are seen. And it's like the men are upset, like, oh, women getting called this, that, and the next. When they have been at the forefront for the last 2,000 or more years. And for the last 2 years, women are now getting a seat at the table. And like the men are mad, like, oh, you men ain't getting this no more. What? Y'all had it for the last 2,000 years. Give women an opportunity.
You put it right.
And my point to you is this. Historically, you may be correct, you know, but I think we need to look at where we are now. And if that argument in terms of what men may have had in the past has been X, Y, and Z, but is no longer the case, then it really is a moot argument. If women are at the table now, then they're there. And it's because of their achievements. No one is giving it. Hey.
We're at the table, but we're not at the head of the table in any level, on any way, anywhere. Because what happens is,
no, Maxine, women are in the room.
We ain't even at the table yet.
They're not at the table. They're in the room.
It's true because, okay, let's look at some organizations, right? We had International Women's Day. yes, we could quote and say the women are the majority of the employee base and they're half of the executive team. You could say things like that. But in reality, the people who are in charge, who really have the veto power, who really making the decisions, they're not women. In most cases, yes, the women in middle management, and Darren might be right, it's starting to get a little crowded in the room because the women in the room, like Rotary and Raquel said, but when it's time to make the decision and to whisper in the corner and to do certain stuff, the women ain't there, so they still ain't really there. Like take a political party, for example, not necessarily mine, but just take anyone. Let's just say a political party has like a set of elections and they're covered in the newspaper. When you see 8 pictures in the newspaper and the women ain't in them, it don't matter how you say the women got elected. If they're in the head, if they're in the second in charge, if they're in the secretary general or the chairman and all these other stuff, they're really there. They're there. They're there. And that's the same as, you know, the CEO, the CFO, the COO is the male. But then, yeah, we know the women in charge of customer service or something like that. Like, let's be real. When they ready to decide what they're doing with the company, we ain't really there. And so, like I say, I don't deny what Rotarian Darren is saying, and that's that we have the glass cracked a little bit, but we really, it's not shattered. And the way you're talking, Rotarian Darren, is as if it's shattered, but it's not shattered. It's not.
I hear you.
I have a question. Rotarian Maxine, Senator.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What do you think? Do you think there's a disparity in the pay with women in the Bahamas? What
I
women
do.
receive? You think so?
I do, but when, in fact, maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, I was on to White Show in the morning, and he asked me the same question, and I told him I do, and then I think it was his show, I'm not sure, but he quoted some recent report that was released, a study that was done where they say that based on equity and pay, we're at this percentage. Now, again, I believe that's because we do have certain roles, but we don't have the like top roles. And so it might make it look like on average we're closer, but we're not. When we negotiate for certain stuff, first of all, Rotarian Dan, like there are literally studies that say that when women go into a room in HR, like they're gonna think twice, like they wouldn't ask, they wouldn't push back, like just by nature, the way we are. Man will be right up front and be like, call me back when you get a serious offer, call me back. and so the facts show that the women don't end up getting the pay that they deserve because they don't ask for it. And on top of that, research shows that men will, like you put a job out there with 20 different prerequisites. The men have like 3 of them. And there's a plan. The women literally is be like, oh, I have 19, but I haven't got this one yet. Maybe I could do this course and then I could apply if it come open next year. But men literally will go and apply for these jobs that they know they don't qualify for. They'll show up to the interview and sometimes end up getting the job. So I do think that there's an equity there.
Oh, just the second part of it. Do you think there's a fear of women coming to the forefront to get into politics? Fear of character assassination, fear of this and that. Do you think that might be one of the reasons why women don't come to the forefront?
There are definitely a lot of fears, and yes, that's one of them. Character, everything else. But, and this is another ongoing discussion in the political realm, men will come to the forefront and everyone know they have a couple of families and everyone know they have like outside and inside and upside down children. And everyone know they used to beat their wife and everybody know they used to drink and all these other stuff. And they still put their face be like, you know how my picture look? Because when I go up on the poll, I want to make sure I look good. Women might have slipped up once or something like that. And they'd be like, boy, you know. And so again, and I still think that that has to do with how we train our girls. I really personally believe that the way to get better women is how we develop our girls. But that's true. Women nervous about coming into politics because it's rough. These people rough. Or listen to me, Bahamians, everybody, they rough. And you gotta be careful. That's why I tell people I don't even like even that introduction. I don't like no kind of Good Friday moments, because just how, not Good Friday, just how that Palm Sunday didn't come, where people having all them palms and putting our names for you to ride on. And that's just how Good Friday come in. And they be like, crucify her, crucify her. So you gotta get too caught up in none of that stuff.
So I just to be clear, what do you think we'll do? What are some of the points we can do to correct that myth or correct what really exists? Because you are saying it really exists, and I believe it's so. what can be done to women, aspiring women out there, or who even might be listening on this chat?
And that's why I believe women need other women. Like women need men too. So first of all, we need men. We need fathers and husbands who really believe in the cause to step forward and be that voice for women. Because I think like Waynisha said, every time women ever get anything, they have to fight for it or do whatever. Even now, like I think tomorrow, Women United is having a press conference to deal with certain gender issues, right? And I promise you, ain't no man could be there. So the problem is we always look like we're speaking for ourselves and we have to speak for ourselves. So I think that men who really believe that women have value to add, they need to come forward, start stepping up, come into some of these things, wearing their pink shirt too and saying that I have a daughter, I have a wife, I have a sister who's capable and we need change now. Additionally, I believe that women need to band together and truly form a sisterhood. And like when I say that, I always mean it. I don't know if everybody means it, but every time I get in a bipartisan situation or at an event, I always say the same thing. Like I be rooting. Like every time I hear anybody, if I hear Minister Ginger or Minister Pia or anybody on TV, I just be like, go girl, go girl. Now I don't necessarily go public and be like, go girl, but like I always be happy. Like every time I hear like Minister Pia Glover Rose speak or something, like I'll pause, I'll send a WhatsApp, you know, because I really believe that women need other women. And I don't think that we should allow partisanship to cross the line when it comes to womanhood. You know, we could disagree on the issues, but I think like I was walking to the parliamentary annual service the other day on the side of Minister Gladys Hannah Martin. And like I told her, I was like, you know, listen, you rock. You know, and she laughed and she's like, you rock too. I was like, no, really, you rock. And she does. And I don't think like I should allow my partisan viewpoint to change that when it comes to the sisterhood. And I think that would help other women if they know that, okay, when I get there, at least the other women going to be looking out for me. Then it'll help them a little bit more to at least know like, okay, someone in our room, when they start saying, okay, I find this shirt on Maxine, let me put it out. Someone in the room could be like, not Mac, you better, don't you dare. But we need to really come together more. That's how I'm minded, but everyone might not be like that.
So if I may just want to add, you may hear Duke in the corner making noise, and that's fine as well. I have a 2-month-old, but I just wanted to make mention of the fact that I noticed that you have spoken earlier within the meeting, and you were to talk about you know, perhaps we shouldn't tell girls certain things, but we should build them. And I think that's important because the way a woman walks, they speak, you could tell when a woman is confident about themselves to go for the higher positions and to go for the higher pay. There are some women at this point, I don't want to say that they're too far gone, but I think it's normally harder to build once you're already set in your character and your ways. And so for me, I can tell you, I know, I can only speak from my experience. From I was a little girl, I was always built to have confidence. And so, you know, I think Marcus Garvey, he stated that you are twice defeated in the race of life without confidence, and you all could look it up. And I think that's the issue more than anything, that some women, yes, I noticed the ones at the forefront, you see, you could look in their eyes and the confidence that they walk with, whether they have a degree or not, they just have that persona that I can win. And that's for an individual on the whole, but you could always tell someone who lacked confidence in getting the job done. And so I guess I appreciate you for what you've contributed, but I would say too, continue to go after the young people, the persons who are still in that influence stage, because they are the future. We're just passing through at this point and getting to the end, you know, but is that those young people, I think we need to get in their heads and in their minds that, listen, you can, and they have to believe it. Because persons, like you say, with those 19 credits and all that, they don't believe that they can do it. You know, and I think that's the issue. You have to believe that you can do it, and it comes out in your speech. It comes out in your walk, you know, in your appearance. So I just wanted to add that right there.
Thank you. That's a whole mouthful, and that's so true. That's absolutely true. You need that confidence.
Senator Maxine, I don't want to interrupt, but do you think our leaders, wherever sphere, are doing enough to, are they serious about pulling women to the leadership? Because particularly at political parties, every time they come to power, they say women, we for the woman and we can push them, but when you see the slate of candidates come, that don't seem so. Do you think it's really serious, that we are serious about it?
course, they're not serious. But when they go to United Nations, they just don't want to be harassed. So they sprinkle a couple in there. So when they go, they could say, we're making advancements. Now we have this amount. But they're not really serious. Of course, they're not serious.
What could we do?
Stop settling as women. Well,
we could do as men.
The men who really believe it, they have to push because they're the ones who are in the room. They have to push for the women. The man have to push. And that's why I keep saying the man have to be the ones to help push for us. The men who really believe in the cause, like Rotarian Dean, every time a woman gets like some bad type, they get abused in some way and it becomes public and the videos go around and all that stuff.
Right.
The people who march in and stuff is always be the same people. Like Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson, her voice like a voice crying on the wilderness at this point. Okay. Now added to the wilderness is like the Podesta Moore and the Candy Gibsons and the Marissa Dean Smith, or I hope I got her name right, and whoever else, right? So now in the wilderness is all these different voices crying out, but ain't no bass coming from the wilderness. And so like men who really believe, they need to start to stand up and speak out, because guess what? We all know that you could wake up, yawn, and be like, oh, it's a good day. And all of a sudden the media, they're covering, oh, it's a good day, according to Rotarian Stephen Dean. So what if you start to show up to some of these places and really add value in terms of speaking up and speaking out and joining the cause? Like that would help give it some meat, because then it's just be like, oh, the women crying again. Every time something happened, the women marching again. They crying again. They speaking out again. They asking for the special court for victims. They asking for the law to be changed. They asking for this or that, but it don't be no base voices in the room.
And there's one thing I noticed, particularly in our society, is that we will always find a way to look at those individuals' character, saying this one is not married, this one had a problem, that's why they are making noise. Like we always try to attribute some negative thing to it, to the cause. So that's always in the discussion. I don't know why.
Well, the reality is that's a cultural thing that our whole country does victim blaming, and we just kind of justify everything. Like no matter what, that's in it. If someone get killed, oh yeah, he used to be in crime and he was da-da-da. If someone get robbed, well, they must be someone breaking your car. You leave the stuff on your seat so they could see it. If someone get raped, well, she had on that skimpy dress. Like we just do that. We do that anyway, naturally. And so, yeah, we do that with women as well. But that's just a bad habit we have in our society. We don't take responsibility. It's always the fault of the victim. Always, always. And that's just a thing.
Okay, thank you. An excellent way. The next match, I can bring some of the Rotarian men out to the match with y'all, so we could pull up the banners.
There you go.
Thank you.
I wanted to hear from Waynisha when Tamika made, the comment about the young persons and, being influenced at, at the younger age. I mean, did you have to weigh in on that, Waynisha?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard when Rotarian Tamika, she was saying how the confidence in women basically needs to start, the building needs to start when they're younger. So, it's good to basically make the effort to influence the younger generation, women, young women, young girls, get them, so that they can build up that confidence. So, I mean, I know from what I saw of the bio and some information I got from Rotarian Maxine, that I guess that's a part of what you do in terms of trying to influence, and build the confidence of women. So I just wondered if you wanted to chime in on that.
Yeah, so specifically, the reason why I created my small organization called Gen Z Arise in particular, because I really believe that there wasn't a lot of spaces created just for the age bracket of 16 to 24. There weren't a lot of, tables. I mean, generally, it's just a lot of just different types of groups with different types of people. But I just believe that youth belong to sit at different tables generally. And then within that, there's just so much young women that would tell me their dreams, things they aspire to do, but like they always would tell me it with a question mark, like, but wait, do you really think I could be the attorney general? Like, do you really think like we could be politicians one day? Like, yeah, we believe these stuff and we see, a female politician here or there, but do you really think all of us who have like similar dreams and goals, can we really get there? And I try my best to motivate, especially young women in that age bracket of 16 to 24 or 16 to 30, and even younger women beneath that these things are possible. And I'll tell you the truth. One of my favorite politicians internationally is Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, and she was someone that really inspired me when I made the decision that, hey, one day I want to enter politics, and one day I want to do these things, not for me, but for women. So I had to a lot of times look internationally to see like the wide scope of women. And I feel like, you know, the real advancements can happen here when we see it in our own Bahamian women. And like Senator Maxine would speak to over and over, we've seen, you know, the glass being broken just a little, a crack here, a crack there. But I think that when we really see, for example, 50% of women in parliament advocating on behalf of us and showing not just women, youth, women with disabilities, and everyday Bahamian women in the House, then we know that we are really making efforts towards change. But I do think that it all starts with empowering the young people, young women and girls, and then we create a generation that will bring forth real change. I hope I
Well
answered
said.
that question.
Oh yeah, I agree. Well said. I agree. I know I try to do that with my nieces as much as I can, you know, not focusing like Maxine said so much on your parents, but okay, what can you achieve? What can you do? You know, work with your talent. So yeah, I agree. Wayne, are you still there? Okay, we may have lost Wayne.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
just searching for another gender bias joke.
No.
You know,
I need to get one of them in here
Joke
because
would
there's
have
some,
all the gender jokes.
yeah, man, there's some powerful women in here, boys, some powerful women in this group. And I mean, you're right. You know, a lot of times men, we don't speak as much. We support silently from behind. We provide the strength, but most of the change happens, you know, happening now. Women are at the forefront. I truly wish that we can have a group of men who also can agitate for more women involvement, because I really believe that, you know, we are missing a whole set of mindsets, a whole set of thinking of positions that women offer. Women think different from men. And I believe that if women, you know, can play a more prominent role in a lot of places, you know, the things will run more smoothly. Perhaps if women were ministers of finance, maybe we wouldn't have so much problems with our finances, because women run households, man, and they know how to handle the money for the most part. The majority of the time, women know how to handle that money. So I want to really encourage you ladies, continue, and of course, Waynisha, your daddy got to be named Wayne, right?
Definitely.
I'm just so regretting I didn't name one of my daughters Waynisha, because the kid is such a beautiful name, and you're such a beautiful person. But yeah, listen to what you're saying. You know, it's going to be a lot of backlash, and of course, Senator Maxey, and of course, you know how our country go. We can be very unforgiving. We are very politicized, and that's how we look at people. We tend to take the information based on what side of the fence they're on, whether it's true or not. And sometimes people go to hell just because their side didn't agree to something or the other. So I just want to encourage you to be strong, because it's going to take strength on your behalf to push through. And you know, if you look at all the great leaders and all the great pioneers and all the persons who would have achieved any great accomplishments worldwide, all of them would have had to make enormous sacrifice, and as personal sacrifice to their families. Many of their families became victimized. But you know, if you believe in what you believe in, then you got to go through it, you know, through the valley of the shadow of death, and you fear no evil because you know who's with you. All right, so that's my 5 cents, and I trust and pray that y'all continue to be strong. Okay. Do we have anyone else? Yes. Do we have anyone else? Do we have anyone else on the call wishing to ask a question from our 2 dynamic presenters? Anyone else on the call? Okay, so I don't know, Senator Maxine and Venetia, if you have any further final comments as we wrap up our parking lot session.
I just want to say thank you. It's been a real privilege to be able to present to my fellow Rotarians. And I find strength in being a part of Rotary, and I appreciate all of you.
I'd also like to say thank you so much for having me. And you guys definitely made me feel like home. And, you know, if there is a young woman or young person in your life, I encourage you, if you can, to just lend a hand in their lives, mentor who you can mentor, and continue to help all of us build, you know, the next generation in the Bahamas.
Thank you both. Thank you all for staying in the parking lot and being a part of the conversation. Good. So good afternoon and continue to enjoy your day.
All right, good day, everyone. Stay safe. Great meeting.
Good day.
Okay, good day. I think Rotarian Cherie from the Cat Island Club. Somebody. Good day.